a case I'll make sometimes is it may be that there's no such thing as a stock. It may be that there's only an option or a bond, right? And the reason is because there's fundamentally two ways to run a company. One is to try to shoot the moon. One is to try to build for the future, and then the other way is to try to harvest the legacy, right? And if you're shooting for the moon, the big risk of that is, you might fail, right? It might not work, but if it works, you have this telescoping effect in the public market just as much as you have in the private market.
Yeah.
And historically, the returns in the public market have been driven by a very small number of the big winners in exactly the same way they've been driven by that in the private market. In fact, you see that playing out right now in the S&P 500. So one of the things I've been saying for years now is the S&P 500 is no longer the S&P 500. It's like the S492 and the S&P 8. So there's like 492 companies in the S&P that have no desire at all, right? Just like watching their behavior to like really charge hard at the future. Like they don't want to do it. They won't do it. They're not doing it.
And then 8 are betting everything.
8 are all in, right? And then I always say, who are they? And everybody always knows who the 8 are.
Yeah.
It's completely obvious who the 8 are because they're the ones that are building all the new things. And then again, if you disaggregate like public market returns over the last 10 years, you see this just dramatic, explosion of value among the 8, and you see a relatively modest growth of the 492. So even the S&P 500 is like having a portfolio of like bonds and